equinox, right? All things being equal, that's what it is. March 19th, 10 o'clock. Let's call this meeting, the Board of Supervisors, together this morning. And I've asked our sheriff to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And I believe Supervisor Humphrey will lead us in a prayer after that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for Thy many, many blessings. Heavenly Father, we ask for Thee to be with us as we speak to be understood and as we hear to understand. Heavenly Father, we pray for guidance in the decisions that we make to help make the county a better place for the people whom live here and that pass through. Heavenly Father, all these things that we are grateful for and ask Thee of, we do so in the name of Your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right. Good to see everyone here this morning. Let's get started with item 2A. It's presentation of Gila County General Fund financial data as it compares to the fiscal year 2024 Gila County budget and fiscal years 2023, 22, 21, and 20 year-to-date performance. Good morning, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey. Good morning, Supervisor Klein. We're here this morning with our year-to-date data through the end of, well, it says January, and then it references October and November. So clearly, we've got a couple typos in this, but this really is the end of January 2024, and we have a 7-month target of 58% of the annual budget. At the end of January, our general fund revenues were at 49% of that budget, and we're at 1.8 million more than the same time last year. The reason we're not at 58% of the annual budget is because of the timing of property taxes, which come in October and April. So we'll be looking for the next couple months to be tracking below that 7-month target. The areas that are highlighted in this chart include your salaries and EREs and your operating expenses, and then your totals year to date, and then your revenues are on the far right-hand side. So for your general fund expenditures, we are seeing that general fund expenditures, including encumbrances, at January 31st are at 55% of the budget compared to that 58% year-to-date target. And those are $1.8 million higher than the prior year, and that $1.8 million is composed of salaries and employee-related expenses makes up 1.2 million of that, which is about 2/3, and the other third is due to the timing of when bond issue interest and fees were due over the past 3 years. So the variance, it's where it should be. It just looks goofy compared to the prior year, and that's 548,000. And we will bring you the next update. Hopefully a month from now, we will have February and maybe March information for you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Maren. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions. Thank you for your info.
Thank you.
I don't either. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, and I don't have anything. Great presentation. Thank you. Look forward to the next one as well.
Okay, great.
So let's move on to item 2B, presentation of updated information for the Board of Supervisors, February 20th of 2024 agenda item, which was regarding the advertisement of a March 29th, 2024 online auction through public surplus to sell surplus or obsolete county vehicles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we presented this item in February, we articulated that there would be a $150 minimum reserve applicable to the final purchase price of any items. When we continued working with public surplus, we learned that that caveat was not possible with them. So their standard is a $50 reserve, which is refundable, not applicable to the final purchase price. We wanted to bring that to you as a clarification. So each bidder will need to place a $50 reserve with public surplus, and then after the auction is over, if they have, whether they have purchased anything or not, that $50 will be refunded to them. And we wanted to make sure we brought this information to you and make sure that it was available to the general public also. We also would like to clarify that this information was put in the advertisements that are in the newspaper and online. We had it in time to update that. We just needed to bring it to you this morning.
Okay, but you don't need any action.
No, thank you. This
Okay.
is just a presentation.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
Good, Mayor, thanks.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Marin.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on then to our regular agenda items 3A. Information, discussion, and action, or action to ratify the Board of Supervisors approval for the Sheriff's Office electronic submittal of the fiscal year 2025 drug, gang, and violent crime control grant application to the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission in the amount of $862,147.73 to renew grant funding that will be used for the salaries and benefits of the Sheriff's Office Drug, Gang, and Violent Crimes Task Force. We have with us Travis Baxley.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. On behalf of Sheriff Shepard, I'm here to present our application process through the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission for the fiscal year 25 for the Drug, Gang, and Violent Crimes Task Force. We feel that this is a vital part of the Sheriff's Office and the law enforcement actions that we take in Gila County. Without this type of funding, the type of arrest and crimes that are committed within our jurisdiction we wouldn't be able to do it. We've had an astonishing year in the number of fentanyl arrests, and it coincides with exactly what we're seeing across the state, the county, as well as the nation, and the fentanyl overdoses and deaths that we're seeing. So on behalf of Sheriff Shepard, I'd like to request that the board approve the grant for $862,147,073 for the fiscal year 25 Drug, Gang, and Violent Crimes Task Force.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I just thank you for all you do, and I only have one question. I'm just curious. I understand salaries, but benefits, is that for equipment? Is that, I guess I don't understand what.
The ERE.
Oh, okay.
The medical, retirement, and so forth.
Okay. Good enough. I appreciate it. Thank you very
I
much.
wish it was for equipment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 'cause it, just checking.
Yeah.
Supervisor Klein.
Travis, thank you for everything you guys do, and gals. How many is on your task force now?
We had 3 as of last week, and 1 retired, so we're down to 2.
We're back to 2. So with our border issues going on to the south of us, have you guys seen an increase in any of the activities, or what do you think? Is it still?
It's just a flood of drugs, and what comes with drugs are your violent crimes. We've had an increase in gangs. We have a lot of people coming out of prison who are gang affiliated, and our crimes are just skyrocketing. We're doing what we can do with the 2.
Oh,
men.
absolutely. I just, I've asked you this question for 8 years now, and, and I've always wanted to have us in a position where we could bump your task force up.
And I would greatly appreciate that, and so would the citizens.
I can imagine that, and that's been since a long time ago, but now literally with the issues from the border, I was pretty sure that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
And so with that, one thing I'll just throw out there is I will be pushing to try and do, well, let me ask you this first though. Your task force is usually made up from other agencies around you, right?
Right now it consists of the Sheriff's Office and the Gila Police Department.
And what about Game and Fish, DPS, and the rest of them? Is it because they just don't have the officers to put out there to help you, or?
Kind of the combination thereof. So what we've done when we can't bring them into the task force because the funding is so low, then we work together. We work cases, just last week, we worked a case with the state gang task force. And we were successful in the operation, but that just goes to show the camaraderie and the collaborations that we do. We do them with the Payson Police Department, DPS, Globe, Miami, even outside the county.
Thank you, Sarah.
Well, Supervisor Klein, so we're getting ready to present an item to you guys here shortly. It's some border security money that's actually being funneled through the Department of Public Safety to the Sheriff's Office. So here in the next, either the next meeting or the next one, you guys will have an opportunity to approve that, which is going to bring some additional, we put in for positions and vehicles. So that's going to bring some additional funding that we're hoping that we can streamline towards kind of the K-9 task force, those type of officers to help with this issue. So we do have some stuff coming.
That would be really cool, Sarah. So this money is gonna go towards the sheriff's office in general, but the
Yeah.
sheriff is thinking about funneling some of it towards our task force?
Yeah, so when we submitted the letter to them, we submitted it for 3 K-9 positions and 3 K-9 vehicles is what we put it in for. Now, what that's gonna allow us to do is either create them or gonna allow us to pay the ones we currently have, and then that'll free up some positions to maybe possibly move around and do some things. Again, you know, the sheriff's office is short-staffed
Right.
overall for law enforcement in our county, and so where those resources go and who we're able to hire and what we're able to do is gonna determine how we do that. But just so you know, we're always actively looking for money, cause this is such a critical part to our county. And this is one thing that is gonna come through. What we're being told is that this money will, hopefully continue, to be appropriated at the state legislature level through the Department of Public Safety. So we're hoping this year it's right at 500,000. It's about $502,000. So what we're hoping is if that will continue every year, that's on top of this ACJC money. So it should give us the ability to do some different things.
Sarah, so while you're here, and Travis, Travis, you know, you're setting at 2 people, what kind of additional cost would it take to get other agencies to come in and bump you to like 6 people?
So what we have is everybody's is of course it's always about the money, right? And so when we're able to give funding for a position and the ERE, that's really what's enticing to people, other agencies, right? Because then there's no cost to them.
To them.
It's all being paid out of the grant. And so in order to do that, and I think Travis, this 862, I think, includes 2 outside agency positions, plus us, what we have in there, and I believe a clerical position. So, I mean, you're looking at just to add 2 to the outside agencies, it's quite a bit. Because it's, again, their salaries, their retirement also, it depends on, you know, some of their retirement can be as high as 56%.
Right,
So,
right.
so that's what we're looking at right now, but, I just wanted to let you know, like, we're always looking, and this is one avenue that we found. The sheriff is obviously dedicated to this, so we could have used that money, you know, anywhere in the agency, but we're really trying to get the money funneled to this program and for these officers, so.
So just for what it's worth, I'd really like to schedule a meeting with you guys and Mr. Minlove sometime and sit down and talk more about this.
Sure.
Because this is just gonna get bad, and it already has, and so.
Sure. And I'll have all the information for you guys. Like I said, I'll be presenting it here in the next couple meetings. So I'll have it all for you and we can sit down and really look at the full picture.
Thank you, Sarah. Travis, thank you for everybody
Thank you.
that's working out there. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for that. And Travis, can I ask you a question real quick? So this 862,000, is that more than last year?
Well, it's the amount that we figure with budget, through the budget and salary process. We always ask for the moon,
Yeah.
and then we end up getting
A
what they give us.
crescent-shaped moon.
You know,
Yeah.
so Usually we're in the vicinity of about 340,000 is what we get awarded.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, well, if there's nothing else, then I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the Sheriff's Office electronic submittal of the fiscal year 2025 drug, gang, and violent.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
So,
Crime Control- It was on the second page. Crimes and Control Grant application to the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission as presented.
I'll second it again.
okay, we have a couple motions and seconds there. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Sheriff. Item 3B, information, discussion, and action to approve the use of One Government Procurement Alliance contract number 22-02 EV-18 with Sentinel Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $92,368.54 for the purchase of 85 Meraki MR28 wireless access point appliances with a 10-year license. Carrie.
Good morning, Chairman Christensen and board members. I'd like to request the replacement of all of our wireless access points within the county. This upgrade is essential to managing the security on both of our internal and external wireless networks. By deploying the new Meraki access points, we can better manage and implement more robust security protocols, aligning ourselves with enterprise best practices. This is part of our capital request for the year. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Carrie. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, and the only comment is I think security is really important when it comes to what's going on in our world today. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
So I agree with Supervisor Humphrey, Carrie, but wireless access point appliances, that means what?
So your wireless access points are your wireless, they're the devices that are in each of the buildings that allows you to connect to the internet, either internal or external.
Okay, all right, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you keeping us up to date. We need
Absolutely.
to keep all of our cybersecurity up to date. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the use of one government procurement alliance contract number 22-02 PV-18 with Sentinel Technologies Incorporated as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Thank you.
Carrie. Item 3C, information, discussion, action to adopt revised policy number BOS-FIN-016- Community Agency and Economic Development Funding. Again, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Klein. Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey. We brought this item to you at our last work session to discuss. As you're aware, there's been an ongoing audit finding for the past 6 audit years, requesting that we come up with a policy that we follow regarding how economic development funding is awarded and how we document that we've followed up with those agencies to ensure that the funds are being used correctly. Today's policy takes what our current protocol is and puts it into writing and adopts it for you. With the attached policy, there is a policy, and then subsequent to chairman's signature, there is another document attached in line that provides the process and procedure, which you're all currently following with administrative staff. If you choose to adopt this policy today, Finance will be back on the 16th of April with a year-to-date report so that we are providing an ongoing update both to the Board of Supervisors and to the constituency about how much has been expended in economic development grants, to whom those grants are made, and documenting that we're doing our follow-up. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I thank them very much for making this so much more difficult for us and the constituents from what everybody was used to prior. But I understand how important it is that that we keep up with our audits because of the benefits from it. And so I guess the pain is worth it. So thank you very much. I appreciate you keeping us where we need to be.
They will be here in person. I believe it's on May 7th. If you have additional feedback to share with them.
Supervisor.
I thank you for giving me the heads up ahead of time.
I'm not sure they would want my comment for the benefit of the county.
We're a
But thank
First
you for
Amendment
that.
county, right?
You know, this is just one of the gifts we get for being so far behind on our audits 7 years ago or whatever it was. But you guys have done an awesome job of getting all that caught up, and if we have to go through these hoops, that's what we're gonna have to go through, huh, Jessica? So, I do see in here there is gonna be more work that's gonna have to be involved from our standpoint. I'll grin and bear it. Thank you, Maren. I appreciate your help.
Is Kathy grinning?
Well, she is, because she won't be here through it all, so. So thank you.
So, Maren, if I understand your comments, without going line by line on this, you're just putting into writing what we are currently doing, our conduct is currently with regard to the constituent funds and economic development grants.
So the attached policy is putting into writing exactly what you just said, putting into writing what our current protocol is. You will, as I mentioned to Supervisor Humphrey, the auditor's office will be here in person in May. There is another finding for 2023 because this policy hadn't been enacted. Assuming that we enact this policy today, then the finding for 2024 will be a reflection of whether or not we've actually followed this to the letter, including the monthly reporting and the ongoing updates from the recipients.
Okay, great. So yeah, this is just another thing that we need to have in place, make sure that the Auditor General is happy with the way we conduct our paperwork, right? I mean, in a nutshell.
Well, we gotta be within the statute of the law too.
Right.
So, you know, and I understand that. You know, and what I see, I think we're doing my opinion is we're doing a good job now, but I see where we're gonna have to have more documentation as how it addresses the public and what's the benefits to the county, yada, yada, yada. I just see more work on that side of it. Probably what we've been doing, and also the reporting back from the receiving parties or organizations is something we'll have to keep up with. And that, I think, it will be a big, probably a big training curve on our part, because most of them aren't doing that. They haven't done that. And so I'll have to be upfront and address, but we'll get there, I guess.
And we'll continue to work with the county attorney's office if there are areas for improvement.
So, Maren, will this, if we approve this now, does it enact immediately?
Yes, it would effectively be the entire current fiscal year. So it would cover us back to July 1.
I see,
Because we've been following this,
Okay.
this just codifies it.
I see. Gotcha. Okay, with that,
Mr.
yeah.
Chair, if I may, this is policy we're setting on ourselves.
Correct.
And so we can change it later if we need to, too. That made some eyes open.
yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I like that part of it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I have to make sure I double check with Jessica before I can't give you legal advice.
Okay, any other comments? If not, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt revised policy number BOS FIN 016.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Maren.
Thank you. We'll be back on April 16th with your report.
Okay. Okay, item 3D, we have information, discussion, and action to repeal resolution number 23-09-03 and adopt a resolution number 24-03-02, which authorizes the submittal of an application for a Clean Water State revolving fund loan from the Water Infrastructure Authority of Arizona not to exceed $250,000, which will be used for the Gila County cesspool capital improvement project. And we have Kaylee with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As stated, this is a request to repeal a resolution we brought to you in September and replace it with an updated resolution because we are required to designate a funding source to repay the loan, even though it is a 100% forgivable loan. They just needed verbiage in there, so we worked with our county attorney's office to put that in there. And then, like you said, this is so that we can finally submit, hopefully for the last time, this application so we can work on these cesspools. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Kaylee. Supervisor Humphrey.
So this will be funds that will be available for constituents who qualify for a failing cesspool to receive perhaps a septic tank and leach system.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just clarify, but the
Yes, sir.
qualification is the important part
Yes.
of what is going to be, this is gonna be funded for.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Supervisor Klein.
So I get what you're saying about this is gonna be paid back anyway, but so we're the ones that's actually asking for this fund loan, Kaylee? This is confusing to me, I guess.
Chairman, member supervisors, so to my understanding, this is a new program and they do not currently have documentation for the actual agreement. This is to submit the application. Now, at any point, you guys could repeal this resolution or not move forward with the agreement once we have that documentation. But for now, we are being advised that this is a 100% forgivable loan. Now, of course, the county attorney's office is going to review the documents to see what language is in there to see if the county's gonna be on the hook for any sort of amount of these funds. But again, that's a second process. This is just for the application.
Well, okay. Thank you, Jessica.
Yes.
Thank you, Kaylee. Nasty topic.
More
So,
ways than one.
okay, so we're revising some language. With that, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to repeal resolution number 23-09-03 and adopt resolution number 24-03-02.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Kaylee.
Thank you.
Ready? Item 3E, information discussion or action to approve amendment number 1 to contract agreement number CTR 063953 with Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated to extend the contract for the Monroe Street Improvement Project through August 30th, 2024 in the amount not to exceed $123,495.51. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. Thank you for having me back. As you know, at the end of January at the work session, I had Chris Eggers from Stantec with me here, and we presented a few options before you guys on the Monroe Street, some opportunities to save a little money and make the project better, and in essence getting the best project for Gila County that we could. You guys gave us plenty of feedback. The issue that arose from that is the contract expired a few days after we had that conversation. So this is a no cost to the county, so the number given was the originally approved number, but we would like to extend their contract through August so that we can get all of the ideas put together and brought back before you guys for approval so that we have the best product for Gila County.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, it's been like this for a long time, so to me, it's worth the delay to get the best project that we can. So thank you very much for working with them and us to get the best project that we can out of it, even if it does extend the project some. So I thank you very much for working with that.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Alex, do you think this will be the last extension though? I mean, that'll be it and we'll get done?
That is the plan right now.
That would be a good plan. from my standpoint. So, I mean, I see it, we stretch things out and prices change and things go up and then, so if we can get it done with this go around, that'd be great. Thank you.
That is what we were pushing for, yes.
Right on.
Thank you, Alex. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 1 to contract agreement number CTR 063953 with Santec Consulting Services Incorporated as presented.
And Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Our next item is 3F, information discussion action to approve amendment number 1 to service agreement number 011124, installation of animal control box C-111 with Hartstraw Manufacturing LLC to extend the term of the contract from February 16th, 24 to June 30th, 2024, with a not to exceed the amount of $51,229. We have JC with us.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the
Morning.
board. Back in February 6, 2024, the board approved contract 011124 for the installation of the animal control box onto the new truck that we are getting. From the time it took the purchase order to be executed and sent to the company, there's just not enough time to finish the project. So we're asking the board to amend the service agreement and to extend it for an additional 2 months, so they would have plenty of time to finish the project. And I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Supervisor Klein?
JC, is this the original amount we started with? 51,000?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. I'm kinda like with what I told Alex, that we need to get it done.
Yeah, and
So-
I think on the email, I think it's gonna take about 3 to 4 weeks to get it complete, so.
Good.
I think the end of the additional 2 months would make for sure it's done in time,
Good deal, thank you.
of course.
Yes, thank you. And with that, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 1 to service agreement number 011124 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And item 3G, information discussion action to approve the use of the state Arizona contract agreement number CTR 061839 with Skyline Builders and Restoration in the amount of $1,877,186.16 for the Payson Courthouse remodel project. Joseph.
Good morning, Chairman, Board of Supervisors. At the Board of Supervisors work session that took place on January 30th, 2024, the Facilities and Land Management Department presented a review of the Payson Courthouse remodel project. The project aims to address several challenges while modernizing the 40-plus year infrastructure of the 13,848 square foot facility, which has 2 floors. The primary objective of the remodel are to optimize the court's first floor operational space, establish a security checkpoint, and ensure life and safety infrastructure such as fire monitoring system, fire suppression system, and the compliance with the American with Disabilities Act, ADA. As part of the renovation project, we will also upgrade the facility's paving, roofing, HVAC, electrical, and mechanical to meet the standard requirements. After reviewing the Payson Courthouse remodel project and have evaluated the objectives and the goals of the renovation, the project is aimed at addressing several challenges while modernizing the 40-plus year infrastructure of the courthouse. The primary goals of the renovation are to optimize operational space again and to establish life and safety infrastructure. Facilities and Land Management recommends proceeding with the renovation project. Proposed remodel is classified as a level 3 alteration according to International Building Code. Therefore, the project must install a fire suppression and monitoring system based on the facility's square footage and occupancy load. The upgrades to the facility's paving, roofing, HVAC, electrical, and mechanical systems are necessary to meet the standard requirements and improve the safety and functionality of the building. Establishing a fire suppression monitoring system, security checkpoint, and compliance with ADA regulations will ensure a safer and more accessible environment for all visitors and employees. Improving the operational space will help streamline court proceedings and enhance the overall efficiency of the courthouse. The renovation project has been planned and budgeted, and we expect to obtain the primary funding from ARPA. Additionally, we will receive support for the project in the form of $120,000 from Judge Wright Superior Court Administrative Fund. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Supervisor Humphrey.
Well, I'm glad to see the funds are available. I just, I mean, we put a lot of thought and interest in everything in building this, and now we're spending a ton of money remodeling it. And so I'm glad that the funding's there and that it's going to go forward. I just hope that we're pretty much finished with remodels on our newest building to Gila County, and that's my only comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
So, James, this, ARPA money is the last of the ARPA money, right? I mean, we're obligated, spent, however you wanna put it?
Mr. Chairman, and Supervisor Klein, we're pretty darn close.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're,
Original $10.5 million of ARPA money.
right. We still have a little bit left, or,
I believe so, yes.
okay.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. With this project, if we minus this project away from the original 10.5, we're down to about $400,000 with the remaining ARPA funding. So Mr. Menlove's absolutely correct. We're right there.
So, Michael, with that thought, this, 24 was the year we had to have it spent or obligated, right? So, I mean, this is the year we have to have it balanced out?
No, you had to have it spent completely by December of 2025.
Oh, okay.
You had to have
Okay.
it sort of planned out before December 2024.
Okay.
So we're right on target for that.
The reason I ask is because like with any project, if something is just a little off and this 1.8 doesn't seem to do it, we still have a little bit of money floating out there to make something up if we had to, right?
Mr. Chairman, this is a job order type contract, and so if there are any overages, it's up to the contractor. By approving this today, that is locked in, and there will not be any overages. Scope has been established by Joseph and his team, and so that 400,000 can go elsewhere.
Good. That's even better. Thank you, Joseph. Thanks, Michael.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can I also point out that this is not an improvement to or model of the TCM building. This is the older courthouse that is being remodeled. So the new building we constructed is, we're not touching that. This is all on that older building, the two-story courthouse that's there.
Right. Joseph, is that about 50-year-old building?
40 plus, sir.
40 plus, right?
sir.
Yeah. So I think it's fantastic that we have the money to spend American Rescue Plan money that we don't have to match or anything. So this is really a one-time opportunity to get it done and do it right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're locked into this figure, and it's not on topic, but I presume there's been plans made for the last 400,000 of ARPA money we need to commit to before the end of the year. You guys talking about that?
Yes, sir. We're always looking at.
Yeah, we
looking to the
don't want
future.
to have any money in the pocket.
Roger that.
Right,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay, with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the use of the State of Arizona Contract Agreement Number CTR 061839 with Skyline Builders and Restoration Incorporated as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, a motion to approve and seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we know how long that project's gonna take, Joseph? Just off the cuff there. We have to have it done by the end of 25, right?
Chairman, Board of Supervisors, good news. We're going to fall well within that timeline with us being able to move forward. We're anticipating anywhere from a 4 to 6 month project. With
Okay.
that being said, we're always looking to expedite.
And I'm sorry, I'm just keep asking questions, but it's, I do know there's contractors that would like to bid on, say, the sprinkler system. I presume that this company that we're hiring would be putting out bids and things like that. Or
Yes, sir.
Call for bids. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
it's to their advantage as well as ours to go local.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Okay, our last item, 3H, in category number 3, information, discussion, action to approve economic development agreement number 03132024 between Gila County and the Rim Country Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $2,500, which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public. James?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the Rim Country Chamber of Commerce, they used to have a monthly luncheon. They've changed their format a little bit, and they're doing quarterly events. Quarterly events, I attended the last one. There was quite a few people there, but they like to have this at no cost to those that come and participate in it. Their proposed event for April is regarding tourism and economic development in that region of the county, and have asked, and this is actually will be a partnership with the town of Payson. Cost to put on the event is about $5,000. Town of Payson has agreed to support the event by $2,500, and we are asking that the request has come to Gila County and requesting that Board of Supervisors approve $2,500 support this event that is currently scheduled for April 26th regarding tourism and economic development in northern Gila County. This will come from constituent funds. I believe District 1 and District 3 have agreed to split the cost for this.
Okay, thank you, James. Any questions, Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
James, that's still being held on Tuesdays, right? The chamber luncheon up there?
April 26th, maybe tell me what date that is? I think it's a Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Or Friday. It's later in the week. It's not on Tuesdays.
So they've changed their days then?
That is a Friday.
Friday. And will that be their normal chamber luncheons then?
They're not holding the monthly chamber luncheons
Right.
anymore. They've converted to the
Quarterly.
events, where this is a 5-6 hour event starting at 9, 10 in the morning, going until 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
We used to attend those on Tuesdays after our board meetings were held up there.
Right.
And they were really good, real informative, and a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the same. A lot of people attend, good events. They're
Yeah.
well programmed, well thought out, very productive in the presentations and the discussions and the instructors that are there for that. And so very
Yeah.
productive and worthwhile events.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, James. And with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve Economic Development Agreement Number 03132024 between Gila County and the Rim Country Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $2,500, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
Motion to approve in second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item number 4 is our consent agenda action item. Would Supervisor Humphrey, is there any of the consent agenda items that you would like to remove from the
No, I'm
consent
good, thank
agenda? Okay, Supervisor Klein?
I'm good as well.
So am I, so I'll call for a motion on the consent agenda items A through F.
Mr. I move to approve consent agenda items 4A through 4F.
And I will second that.
Motion to approve in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have come to the call to the public. So we're doing good on time. I've got quite a number here, and I think we do have some in Payson as well. So, Cassandra, is there anyone on the internet that? Not yet. Not yet, okay. All right, so the call to the public is something that we offer at the end of the meetings to address the Board of Supervisors on any issue within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors. The board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. So therefore, pursuant of Arizona Statute 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of an open call to the public by those who've been addressed, the board may ask staff to review a matter or may ask what a matter that a matter be put on a future agenda or future discussion at a future date, and also respond to any criticism. So as long as everyone understands that, we've got quite a few today. And we're going to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. And so our first speaker is Adam Baugh. And I remember an email from him, and he would like to discuss the short-term rental ordinance.
County Supervisors, thanks for your time. I typically, as a lawyer, land use attorney, I represent developers across the state. This is unusual for me to actually be here on my own accord. It's different when you're trying to protect your own property rights versus trying to build a neighborhood subdivision, but it's important to me, and that's why I'm here. I represent a group of 250 people. I wouldn't say represent, but I lead them, and that's in the Pine and Straub area. And as a result, I represent developers throughout the state in the implementation, the crafting, the drafting of zoning ordinances. And so with special attention, I've looked at yours. And it surprises me that an ordinance will be adopted without really soliciting impact from the very stakeholders who it most directly impacts. We don't have time to discuss all things. I want to be respectful of the 3 minutes you've given me. So I'll just point out to 4 things that I think would be helpful. And I know we have a meeting in the future that I'll love to elaborate more on them further. Number 1, I think the ordinance is vague and ambiguous in some spots. It contradicts itself in other places, and is in direct violation of the state statute that gives you the authority to act. The 4 areas is first, the state statute says that you can only adopt and enforce STR ordinances to the extent that it is applicable in the same manner as other property classified under sections 42.12.003, which refer to single-family homes. So in your ordinance, you limit the guest count, you require mandatory pest control, impose hours for curbside trash, institute background checks, display a floor plan, create additional maintenance obligations, and prohibit public street parking, which is all valid and lawful, provided that you require the same thing of other single-family residence homes. I don't believe you apply that uniformly, so for that reason, I believe you'll find that your ordinance has some deficiencies as it relates to state law. Secondly, your ordinance has a 1-hour reporting requirement, but unfortunately the way the state statute is written, it says in a timely manner over the phone or by email. Your ordinance takes it a step further and requires a 1-hour response time in person. I think the county language should be reflective of the state statute, at least to maintain conformity and compliance. Number 3, the county definition of an emergency event I feel is vague and ambiguous, and the concern I have, as it's currently written, any complaint, even without cause, can require someone to show up. And that showing up then results in a potential fine, and 3 of those result in a revocation of your ordinance. And what worries me is the abuse of that process with an unverified complaint. I have a neighbor in my first 3 months of ownership threatened to shoot my wife because she was using a leaf blower on a Saturday at 2 p.m. That person's aware that all he needs to do is file fake complaints that are unverified, that result in police showing up, or a county sheriff. And that's all it takes. It's a problem. And I feel like without you having a proper noise ordinance adopting your county code, you won't even be able to administer it properly because you can't measure it. The 4th point, and I'll wrap it up briefly with this, is in your notice section of your new ordinance, it says notice can be simply left on the door. And as remote owners, a notice left on the door might satisfy your ordinance, but we would never know about it. And so if you could at least require that it gets mailed to the property of residents as well as the address on file with the county assessor, we can actually get the proper notice and help you out. You've been gracious with the 3 minutes. I know I've run over, but we do have suggested language. We do have a draft ready, and I'd love to share that with you prior to your work session in April. When we meet in person, I'll present that with you. We're not opposed to regulation. We just want it to be fair and proper.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ball. Yeah, please present that information if it's not already in your email. Okay, please do. Next we have Timothy, is it Gettler? Okay, Mr. Gettler is from Pine. He also wants to speak about the STR ordinance.
Hello, Supervisors, Humphrey and Klein and Chairman Christensen. I wanted to address the STR's ordinance. My name is Tim Gettler. I'm a resident of Pine, a registered voter in Gila County, as well as an STR owner. While I agree that there is need to be an ordinance. This ordinance goes too far. I follow Facebook groups in Pine and went back and read the minutes from previous sessions back in October, I believe. I know that there are people that do not like STRs. In fact, I purchased our home in 2020 that was built in 1977 and had not been updated since. We spent over $50,000 in updates and plan to spend an additional $50,000 to $70,000 to update the siding and windows. As an STR owner, it is in our best interest to maintain the property, have pest services, and such. Our home backs up against Strawberry Mountain. Out of the 6 homes that are within the site, that are within sight of our home, 3 of them are very accepting of our property. 2 of them can care less, and 1 of them actually has a sign in their yard saying that no Airbnbs welcome. I saw and responded to the survey that was made available. I was very disappointed, and clearly the author of the survey has an agenda and does not like STRs. My question is has there been an economic study of impact for STRs? For the economy of Pine and Strawberry, the current form of the ordinance goes too far and is too vague in speech. It will create closures of STRs, which may be what is planned, which maybe is what the planning and zoning wants. But as I said, the amount of money that I have spent improving our home and maintaining our home goes back into the community of Pine, Strawberry, and I'm sure into Payson. Our house guests spend their money in the restaurants and antique shops and other businesses. The restaurants alone need tourism to stay in business. If there are not STRs, there would not be enough places for the visitors to stay. This ordinance also gives anti-STR residents all the power to create problems for owners by calling the sheriff's office, making complaints, and I'm sure the sheriff has a lot better things to do, that this would be a non-emergency item, that Payson is 30 minutes away if that's where they're located, to where they may not even show up for up to an hour, and by that time, the problem may not even exist, and probably never did exist, as from my neighbor not wanting any STRs, they would go out of their way to create havoc for me and cause expenses. So we hope that you take another look and do it right, do the ordinance its justice right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gettler. Thank you for coming today. Next, we have Cindy Hudson, also wishes to speak on the same topic, nonprofit organizations and charities in Pine, Strawberry as well.
Exactly. I can briefly just the topic of the charities in Pine, but before that, I'm hoping that you, Supervisor, will help me clarify something I just saw happen here. You just approved $2,500 for the economic development with the Rim Country Chairman, or Rim Country, Chamber of Commerce, thank you, Rim Country Chamber of Commerce, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public. Yet, with this short-term ordinance that this county is promoting, you are quashing the short-term rental industry. The economic impact study done in 2021 determined that the economic output for Gila County alone from short-term rentals is $84,355. Oh, and $84,300. I'm not good with numbers. $84,000. Okay, so you want to quash this industry to lose $84,000 in income, but yet we're debating over $2,500 to promote tourism in Rim Country? Sorry, I know that was another subject, but hopefully you can clarify that, at least in your mind. What I wanted to talk today about, actually, I spoke last meeting about the impact this ordinance will have on businesses in Pine, will have on the Arizona Trail Hikers. We are a gateway community. It will affect them. I want to talk today about the effect this ordinance will have on the charities and the nonprofit organizations in Pine. We're a tiny town. We have over 12 nonprofits established that support our town. And what supports those nonprofits is our festivals and our special events all summer long. We have the Muggy Monster, we have the Pine Trail Run, we have Fire in the Rim Bike Race. We have every weekend a holiday arts and crafts festival in Pine. Proceeds to those events go to our charities and our nonprofits. They support wildfire prevention, forest management, they support local trail maintenance, they support our senior center, they support our Meals on Wheels, they support our sick and needy programs, they support our children's programs. So they contribute to the town of Pine. This ordinance will quash short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are required for participants and vendors for these events to happen, okay? They've got to have a place to stay. We all know there's not a lot of housing options in the rural areas, especially Pine and Strawberry. So if you take away options for housing, you take away these events. You take away these events, you take away contributions to our nonprofits. All I'm trying to say is, let's look at the big picture. This ordinance does affect the entire town. It does affect businesses. It does affect charities. It does affect tourism, which is a major component of our rim country economy. So again, back to my original question, and hi, I actually made it in 3 minutes this time. You know, we're having to approve spending $2,500 when you're losing an $84,000 a year industry for our county. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Cindy Hudson. I'll call on the supervisors later if they feel they need to respond to any criticism. But next we have Cindy Condit, wishes to speak on the same topic, trash and pest control, wildlife, things like that. She has some photos she'd like to share with us to, so that we know what she's speaking of. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start your 3 minutes now.
My husband and I are full-time residents up in Strawberry. We have 2 properties in Strawberry that we Airbnb. I want to address the sections of the regulations concerning the trash cans and the regular pest control to keep the premises free of insects, rodents, and other noxious pets. I want to talk about the fines to be levied on the owner of the short-term rentals if a guest feeds the elk. The way the ordinance is written, it's going to fall on the homeowner to be fined if the guests get caught feeding the elk. We love living in Strawberry. We have beautiful mountain views. You'll see the photos I've taken. They are within 1.5 miles of my home. We can't fully enjoy these views because our property is directly adjacent to the residence of the owner of the Pine Ice and Chevron gas station, aka Uncle Tom's. You'll see in the photos I've given you that this residential property has been turned into a storage facility used by Pine Ice to store its unused equipment such as semis, Pine Ice trailers, other large trucks, and piles of rusting junk. We can't sit on our patio to enjoy our view. The top photo is of a trash can that the elk knocked over. It's a small amount compared to what we see every day. Your new rule demands that STRs must not place containers out before 6 p.m. and must be removed within 12 hours. Will you apply this rule to the people who live in Gila County full-time? What about the part-time residents? Will they have to schedule their visits around trash pickups or carry it back to the valley with them? Will they be fined for not sticking around and it not being removed within 12 hours? I've also taken photos of the STRs within that same 1.5 miles. They are maintained. It's easy to see where the insects, rodents, and other noxious pests might come from. We do our part to make it clear that feeding the wildlife is prohibited. We post feeding the elk can result in serious injuries along with a hefty fine. We, however, can no more guarantee that our guests will obey our rules than Gila County can guarantee that people will not speed. It's just as unfair to fine the STR owners for the actions of their guests as it is to fine the county supervisors for speeding drivers. Please, if you're going to have this ordinance, all home businesses should have to face the same rules, regulations, fees, and fines. The local residents should be required to the same standards when it comes to noise, trash, and maintaining their properties. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Next, we have, on the same topic, we have Kevin. Is it Corsight?
You are very brave to attempt to course it.
Very good. On the same topic.
Great. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I appreciate your time. I do appreciate your efforts to ensure that STRs are in alignment with residential enjoyment uses. I think that's important, so I applaud your efforts. A little bit of backstory, personal note. My wife works in the public schools. I'm a photographer. We've long had a dream of having a place in the mountains. 3 years ago, we found a property in Pine. Fortunate enough to pick that property up and started down this course. We just recently got our building permit. It's a pretty exciting time for us. Unfortunately, we've also banked on STR funds to allow us to achieve our goals, and ultimately we want to move to Pine and live up there full time. And my worry is the negative impact this ordinance will have on our dream. So I appreciate your time this morning. The ordinance mission states to protect public health, safety, and welfare. Goes on with a few other items. I know other folks have touched on many aspects of this ordinance we find a challenge. Just want to talk about section 3.3, the 1 hour requirement of call for emergency for the owner to arrive at the property. On its face, this doesn't seem all that feasible, even long term if we're living on the property and we have a dentist appointment down in Payson. If we get a call, to get out of the chair, make it all the way back there within an hour can be a challenge. So that's certainly one aspect of it. I also question the effectiveness of the owner or representative on site should an emergency be occurring. The presence of the public safety personnel, which is called out in the ordinance, is hands down the best person to handle that situation. They're professional, they're trained, they're the most effective to manage that situation. Adding more people, and certainly a potential owner or representative of, could actually escalate the situation and create a challenge. So I just question the effectiveness of that on its face. Also, the duty of enforcement, is it the public safety personnel that's required to start the stopwatch and wait for an hour to see if anyone shows up, which would initiate the $250 fine? Probably not the highest and best use of their time. Ordinance also goes on to say if nobody shows up at all, it's an additional $500 fine. How long should that person wait with their stopwatch to see if anyone shows up? So again, I'm just not quite sure what the mechanism there. I don't want to come up with just challenges. I do think that there's a solution here. As an owner, I have more of an interest in the property and any emergency that might occur there than probably most. If somebody gets injured or God forbid worse, I absolutely want to know about it. I think that section 3.3 could be rewritten effectively to say, if there is a call for service, absolutely identify the owner, eliminate the 1 hour requirement, eliminate the fines. Trust me, every STR owner is going to want to get up there and remedy that solution, remedy that problem as quickly as possible. We have a very vested interest. So thank you for your time. I appreciate that. And look forward to our work session later on this month.
Thank you for that, and I'd like to thank everybody that's driven here today to do that, and I'm trying to keep track of everyone's concerns, and we're doing that. And lastly here, with my blue paper, is Vince Hudson of Pine to also speak on short-term rentals.
Morning, Mr. Christensen and Supervisor Humphrey and Klein. As we read through these issues that you guys are throwing at us, one of them faces me. I'm in the real estate world and I know it very well. I've been doing it since the 70s. If we think that we're going to stop these short-term rentals and it's going to keep the economy of that area going we're wrong, because these folks are buying these short-term rentals and using them for that, so they have a place to go the weekends they wanna go out. Not everybody's got the luxury to afford a property in the mountains to live part-time. And they use this system of the short-term rentals to help justify their cost at the end of the day. I don't know if any of you three guys own short-term rentals, and it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is, we can't punish people that are making investments to try to better themselves, their family, and give themselves a place to go to get out of the heat in the summer, or vice versa. And for, this is what really bothers me the most, that all three of you men sitting up there voted this in when I came to meetings here to talk about it, but yet we cut them short, we cut it short, we don't have time to talk about it, and then you do this behind our backs and some of our friends' backs that we live next door to. This is totally unacceptable of you three. And you guys work for us. We don't work for you. So please, please, when we have this organized meeting to try to solve these problems, please listen to the folks that are out there. I'm not saying all these Airbnbs are right, because they're not. And it's like any other business. You got people that take care of their business and you don't. Do I believe that people that aren't need to be, I don't know if the word's penalized, or have their license to practice these Airbnbs taken away or put onto some type of a, for no better word, let's say be on a system to where if they happen continuously, your license are going to get pulled. But to throw this in our face, and if your grandmother came to see you for the weekend and you didn't have a place for her to stay, and you wanted her to stay down the street at an Airbnb, and they said, nope, sorry, we got to do a background check on her, how would you feel, Mr. Humphrey? Mr. Klein, how would you feel?
I wished I could answer that, Vance.
You can.
No, I can't.
Why can't you?
Not yet.
We're here free to talk. Let's all be upfront and honest with each other. I know you guys think I'm a bad guy because I push everything. But you know what? Everything I got, Cindy and I worked for. And we struggle to get where we're at. And we're not going to take this laying down. Thank you.
Supervisor Humphrey, anything at this juncture? Supervisor Klein?
Excuse me, I'll wait for the work session. I do have lots of comments. I do feel as if I have the right to defend myself, and probably should today, but I'm going to hold my comments until the work session.
Can't hold mine.
Supervisor Klein.
Thank you. Now's my turn, Vince. So, let me just start straight up off the bat. You're looking at three guys who have nothing against short-term rentals. We are all in favor of short-term rentals. Our problem has been from the very get-go, the people that don't operate them, as Vincent had pointed out. They don't operate them correctly. They're a nuisance to the neighborhood. They cause big problems in neighborhoods, and that's the complaints that came to us and started this off. The other thing I'm gonna tell you guys, like I told all the people in Pleasant Valley where I live, because they said the same thing. Well, you're throwing this out there. We had no idea what was going on. We've been talking about this for months. This has been on agendas for a long time, and people don't pay attention to agendas. And when it came up, it was voted in, and if you'll go back and listen to the meetings, you will see for sure what I had to say about it. I think the fact that we have pushed for a work session to bring this up and revisit it is in itself enough to point out to you folks, we're not trying to cram anything down your throat and make you go out of business, as you would say. We're trying to make an ordinance that will fit everyone. But yet we keep getting that thrown in our face that we're trying to put everybody out of business. You guys are wrong when you say that. Straight up wrong. And if we were for doing that, we would have passed that ordinance and never gave anybody a second chance to come back and readdress it. But we did, because we feel like there's ways we can make this fit to where we're not hammering the good people, but we're making the other ones toe the line and run a correct business. So we've heard this time and time and time again, to the point I wish there was a way we didn't have to discuss short-term rentals again until that work session. It's the same old thing. I have my points of view on it as far as businesses in towns and what the impacts are. And I will tell you another impact when Cindy talks about housing in areas. The reason there's not enough housing is because they've all been turned into short-term rentals. That is a fact in Gila County. There isn't enough long-term rentals in Gila County, especially in the Payson area, to provide housing for the law enforcement people, the nurses, and so forth. There's not. The Forest Service, for example, had to go into Indian Gardens and set up camps for their seasonal workers to live at all summer long because they couldn't find places to rent through the summer. So when anybody talks about housing, and I'm not criticizing eBay for doing short-term rentals, because that's the #1 investment today for making money and so forth. But I will tell you, don't throw that out there in front of me and tell me that that's the problem or not the problem, whatever it was. But because everything today is short-term rentals, not long-term. And so there's a whole lot about this that I, for one, I'm not speaking on these two, but I've had a chance to talk to a lot of people. I've read tons and tons of emails that's been to us, and I get it. I understand your concerns. I honestly think there's a way we can make this better and make it fit everyone. But that's why we went for this work session April 30th. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to go through it. We're going to talk about it. I know you're a lawyer. We have our lawyers sitting here. We address everything. It's going to be out there. But straight up, when you say that we're blindsiding you with something, you irritate me, because the fact is you didn't pay attention to agendas for a long time to see this coming. And I'll visit with you later, Vince. I'd love to sit down with a cup of coffee and visit with you. And so I've gotten that same complaint a bunch, so I just wanted that out there. But #1, first and foremost, I, for one, am not against short-term rentals. I just want them to fit and work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein. And I will say that I mirror everything you said. So we have, from the very beginning, said that we probably will have to make adjustments to this ordinance. And we have that work session April 30th. Now, if you want to keep coming to our meetings and presenting these arguments thinking that you're going to gain headway, I'll assure you that all you're going to do is probably irritate us. So you're welcome to do it. It's your right. But April 30th is the day. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I wasn't going to make any comments, but I understand that the short-term rentals, I understand that, people want to see these beautiful places. But at the same time, Sedona is having to pass an ordinance where you have to prove that you have a job, but you can stay in your car in a park, because Sedona has been filled with short-term rentals, which have raised the property values so high that the people that are cleaning these Airbnbs and their yards and working at the restaurants have no place to live. They have to live in their cars. And Sedona has had to pass an ordinance so that they can. So they are homeless because of the beautiful views in Sedona. So I'm not against Airbnbs, but I don't want to have to pass an ordinance for the people that work for the Airbnbs in Pine and Strawberry to be able to live in their cars, because nobody wants to be out of business for the people that want to see those beautiful views. Because at the same time, if somebody wanted to build a motel in Pine and Strawberry, you people would be against that. But, so, okay, there's maybe a lot of untruths going on. But at the same time, we have to find a happy medium. And is everybody going to be happy? No, I don't think so. But we have to find a happy medium, because that's one ordinance that I'm not going to work on, to have workers with a job live in cars because there's no place to. Mr. Chair, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you. So is there anyone else here locally in Globe that wishes to speak, call to the public? No. Lisa, do we have people in Payson at the TCM that wish to speak, call to the public?
Yes, sir, I have two.
Okay.
First one would be Verla.
Verla.
Come up here.
Okay. And I have been attending your meetings.
And I have
been
please, once
speaking.
again, state your name, please.
Verla Doctor. And as short-term renter owners, we are all in favor of your health, welfare, and safety of our neighborhoods. Our guests deserve this also. In our neighborhood of 174, approximately 22 of those are short-term rentals. That's 12%. You already have laws for your trash and your feeding of animals. They're just not getting enforced. Enforce it universally. Septic concerns only for short-term rentals, but an owner or a long-term rental can have as many people as they want in the home. Their septic can overrun, and their people are there 24/7, not occasionally. Those homes are full. A better choice? How about if we have a septic issue come up, shut us down until it's repaired. If an owner has a septic issue come up, tell him he has to move it out until he corrects it. If a long-term rental has a septic issue, shut them down. I love the no on-street parking. Our streets are narrow. No one should be parking in our streets. But you're only going to make short-term rentals, and there's no parking signs. How are you going to regulate that? Pest control. Does it have to be professional? How often do we have to do it? You don't state. But is it a health issue only at my home and not at my neighbor's? Or is he going to have to do pest control also? Trust me, if a short-term rental has a bug, that renter is going to notify Airbnb and VRBO, and we're going to have it taken care of within 24 hours. Sex offenders. Has this ever been reported at a short-term rental in Gila County? There are landlord laws that say you cannot discriminate against a sex offender from a registry. We cannot deny housing to them. Of interest in our neighborhood, we have an owner who's a registered sex offender. We had a recent long-term renter that had been there like 10 years. He was a registered sex offender. He just got arrested for watching child porno. And one of the homes that my husband and I bought and refurbished, it was being used as a sex offender home. Not anymore. It's a short-term rental. These are only the ones that I'm aware of. If you check the government, check the U.S. government, 0.3% of the population in the United States are registered sex offenders. How does your law protect my renters from a sex offender? And are you opening us up to a lawsuit because we're a homeowner, we're a renter, and it's against the law for a landlord to not allow housing? You only care about the 12% in your safety. The other 88% in my neighborhood, you don't care about. They can do all your unsafe things, but the 12% of short-term rentals can't.
Okay, Vera, your time's up. Thank you for your comments. Lisa?
Yes, I have Lee. I'm sorry, Lee. And what you'll do is you'll state your name and just speak into there.
Hi. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board. Appreciate you letting us have a moment. Our names are, where are you? Lee and Jean Pendergraft. We are owners of the Rusty Pine Cone in Elkies in Pine. And we just want to state that we are concerned for our business. The Airbnbs and the visitors are a big percentage of our clientele. So I'd say 3 to 5% of our business is locals. So if we get real stringent on the short-term rentals, and I think this is going to scare a lot of them away, and we may have some issues with the businesses. So I wanted that to be looked at, and fair rules. I think that if you put into place all these background checks and so forth, that the places that are already there, the motels, hotels, even long-term rentals, they should be required, even more so for long-term rentals. If they have a sex offender move in, they should be checking that as well. So just want to make sure you look at the fairness to everyone, and not to squash. Our community has really been thriving, and we want to keep it that way. So I appreciate your time.
One comment on the workshop, how long is that workshop going to take place? April 30th? Is that going to be a long time, like a 4-hour event?
I would hope not, Gene.
Well, I could bring some lemonade for everybody, you know.
Okay.
You know, that's all.
My intention, Gene, is to not have repetitive comments. So today, the call to the public is there's a lot of comments that are repetitive. So during the work session, I would like to limit the comments to new comments for each person, not just the same ones over and over.
All right.
We
Appreciate
actually
your
have
time.
two things happening on April 30th. It may be a very long day.
Yeah. All right, I'll bring some lemonade.
Are you going to be making decisions on that day, or just taking everyone's comments?
It's a work session, so there will not be any action items.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Lisa?
No, sir.
Okay. Cassandra, I'll call you again. Anyone, any comments? No. Okay. All right, then I will go to the next item. Item number 6. Well, actually, before I do that, I'll call on the supervisors again if they have any other additional comments. Supervisor Humphrey?
I'm good, thank you.
Fine.
I'm good.
Okay. Item number 6 is the time where we can share, the Board of Supervisors, County Manager, brief summary of current events. So let's go with James Menlove right now.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, one thing I wanted to bring attention to with our finance department, kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but with Finance Director Belling, that she was having, was that last week? Or this week that you're meeting with the auditors to close out? Last week, Marion met with the auditor from the Arizona Auditor General's office to close out our fiscal year 23 audit. So here it is before the end of March, completely and absolutely everything on time. I want to recognize Marion and the finance team for that significant accomplishment that she has, with the policies that are implemented and all that, has made such great strides over the years. And I am appreciative to Ms. Belling and all of her team for that tremendous accomplishment. Just wanted to point out that today is a voting day. Eric Mariscal is busily administering the election for Gila County in the presidential preference election that is being held today. I do want to point out that we do have our small counties meeting tomorrow evening, and look forward to that. I also wanted to point out that on Friday, I believe we're taking a trip to Young. We have been awarded $3 million in state money for a community center facility to provide services to veterans at the Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat. And also, just in the last week or so, the federal government did approve certain bills that are part of the budget for this current fiscal year. And within that budget is a appropriation or grant of $333,000 that will be used to provide a ADA compliant house to service veterans at the Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat. So really good news at PVVR, and the money that has been available to the county for grants, and look forward to walking the site and determining general locations of where those buildings and facilities will be constructed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, James. Supervisor Humphrey.
I held a Tunnel Basin meeting on the 6th. I held a Roosevelt community meeting on the 11th. I was on KQSS radio on the 11th as well at 5:30. And then last night I attended a Tri-City Sanitation District meeting. And that's about it.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Okay, so just a while back, on the 13th, we attended the Discover Gila County workshop, and everything with the folks involved there is there in Payson at the library. Really, really good meeting. All the folks that's been a part of that and whatnot. The town was there, we were there, State Parks was there, and so forth. But it was really good. Listened to a lot of different ideas. They're revamping the site, so it's going to look a little bit different, but they've got some really good ideas going there. After that, we attended a Whispering Pines community meeting on the 14th regarding a proposed cell tower. Whispering Pines is totally against this cell tower, and they don't want it. They're adamantly fighting against it. I don't know where that'll end up going or what'll end up happening there, but it's been something sitting there watching and listening to the folks. Whether I agree with it or I don't agree with it, I agree with what the people want in that case. And unfortunately, there may be some different situations on how we can vote for cell towers, about as politically correct as I can put it. And so we're still working on, or I'm still working on that. And so anyway, not only that tower, but it looks like there's 4 or 5 more going to be proposed real shortly. And some people want it in their community, some don't. And we'll just have to see. The other day just yesterday I met with San Carlos to discuss some maintenance issues on the reservation for roads. And so we're going over some proposals with them to work and see if we can come to an agreement to get some road maintenance going again out there on that. And that was with the Department of Transportation, a council member, and the attorney out there. So this Saturday I've got a town hall meeting in Young that I'll be at. Kathy will be there with me. I think Homero's coming up to it and whatnot. It ought to be interesting. We'll see what. I'm sure short-term rentals will be a topic of discussion for a short while anyway. So, which is good. Wednesday we're headed to the ECO meeting in small counties. I'm on the Eastern County Organization Board. Here just the other day, there's a supervisor in Greenlee County, Richard Lunt, and he's retiring. He's stepping down, and he is currently on a national board, Western Interregion Board, which is the Western counties. And so I was contacted. He contacted me and asked me if I would run for that position, to fill that position behind him. And so I'm going to be looking at that real hard, and probably, well, not probably, I will try to take that position when he vacates. And that'll all start Wednesday. What I want to back up and say is I had a real honor to be invited to the State of the Union address. And some people, I've heard all different points on that. You know, why did you want to go listen to President Biden and on and on and on? It wasn't so much as listening to anybody as much as it was to be there and be a part of that process. Eli Crane, Congressman Crane, is the one that invited me to come out there and be a part of that. You only get there by invitations. That's it. You can't just walk in the door and sit there and listen to it. It was a really good experience for me, and I would say that if anybody ever and any time gets the opportunity or the invite, please take it, because regardless who the president is, it's well worth being there and being a part of it, and seeing the processes they go through and everything else. I'll tell you, one of the key parts of that for me was when I'm sitting there in the gallery. Gallery's just about full, and in walks Gabby Giffords and her aide. I don't know if some of you may not remember Gabby, but she was a congressman out of Tucson that got shot, and she came walking in, and I was able to introduce myself and visit with her while she was sitting there. She sat right next to me, right there. So that was really cool. If nothing else, that was good. The other gentleman that I was able to meet before going into the gallery and getting set up to listen to the president was a guy from Billings, Montana. And knowing that everybody that walks through those doors are there because of an invite, I asked him, I said, what got you invited to this deal? He said, well, you remember the spy balloons? I said, yeah, I do. He said, I was the first one to take pictures and write articles on the spy balloons. I'm like, really? Well, okay, that's cool. But I said, they invited you to come all the way down here for that? I mean, that's a long ways from Billings, Montana to DC. He said, well, no, not really. I've been in meetings all day with CIA and FBI. And I was like, dude, are you gonna make it home? So there's some really cool points to all of that, but I would say that overall I was really honored to be asked to attend, and it was really, really cool to be there. And while we were there, we also spoke to Congressman Crane and Senator Kelly on the veteran retreat, the conveyance of that, and how that bill is going. The bills have been through the processes. They're just waiting to be attached to whatever they're going to attach them to, probably other land bills, and it'll be sent through and hopefully signed by the president. So we're really hoping that gets accomplished before October. Unfortunately, if it doesn't, we'll be starting all over again with bills. And this is the second go around on those bills. But that will convey that property to the county, which right now we're working under a special use permit. So also, well, I missed on one thing too. Last night, I want to back up again. I was in Hayden down there, town council meeting. It's been a while since I've been able to get down there and talk to those folks, but I was able to go down there and give them updates and talk to them about different things that's going on in the county. Really good bunch of people down there. It's always a pleasure to go down there and meet with them and visit with them. So, Mr. Chair, I think that is all I have. Thank you so much.
Busy. You've been busy.
Yeah.
As we all have. And so I was also at that Discover Gila County meeting. Tremendous, really a tremendous thing that we support there. Did you say Richard Lunt is he going to continue being a supervisor? Or?
No, he's not going to run this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
He is.
So that's bad to hear. But anyway, I wish you well on it's the WIR, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I also recently was on KRIM radio and KMOG radio. Attended the Veterans Coffee Time, which is in Payson. The veterans get together every Tuesday, so if I'm not here on a Tuesday, I try to be there. Over 100 people, 100 veterans there. It's really a great success, great group of people. Also, the veteran group, the VFW or whoever they are, the 147, they had a St. Patrick's Day dinner on Saturday night. Attended that, very well attended, full house. Fundraiser, really. Now tomorrow, since we have our small caucus dinner tomorrow, what time is that, by the way? 5:30. I'm going to be attending that, but I have set up a couple meetings prior to that, one with David Cook, one with David Marshall, just to talk. And so I do want to let everyone know that we have spreadsheets and graphs and everything, and everyone that spoke today, I wrote down information. So you're being listened to, and I want you to know that know that. We're not ignoring anyone. So is there anything else?
Yeah, I got one more thing when
Okay.
they're ready, unless Tim's got something.
Please
You good, Tim?
go.
So one more thing I'll let everybody know straight up is I am gonna run through this election. I'm gonna go 4 more years. That's all I'm gonna go. I'll be done 4 years. Kathy is gonna retire this year. And so I wanna throw it out there that I have asked James to put Kathy and Sherry in charge of finding my next executive assistant. So if there's anyone out there that thinks that they have an interest in it or wanna be crazy enough to jump in on that train ride, why, let us know. But Kathy and Sherry will be the ones to make that decision. And both of them know for sure what it takes to be a part of that and being able to stand me. So anyway, just throwing it out there for information. Thanks.
Okay, that's good information. You're not allowed to approach Melissa. Is there anything else, Supervisor Humphrey? Okay. With that, I will adjourn the meeting.